Welcome everyone, Sir Heroscape here today, coming at you with another installment of Ranking Heroscape Age of Annihilation. Today we're going to be talking about the Hellforge Mandukor. Again, just before we do, a nice little reminder that Age of Annihilation is out there, it's in production, it's being produced, and it's on the website. If you're already planning on buying Heroscape, consider using the affiliate link in the description as a way to support the channel. Really appreciate all of you that have already done so. Also, the Sir Heroscape website has cool merch like this hat, like this, sweatshirt. So again, if you want to try and support the channel, you want some cool Sir Heroscape swag, by all means, check it out. Let me know what you think. Again, sirheroscape.com. Anyway, let's get to the ranking video. All right, so let's talk through the Hellforge Mandukor. This bad boy is crazy. So he's an Eisenek, unique hero, devourer, menacing, huge 9. This guy is big. It's single based, I might add, which is kind of cool. Life 6, move 4, range 1, attack 4, defense 4, 130 points. This guy, in terms of stat block, is solid. Now, at first glance, you might think, okay, melee figure and slow, right? 4 movement, 1 range. But he really makes up for it in his abilities. The abilities are very synergistic. They work out really well with how the unit itself is designed and designed within the faction. And for 130 points, you're getting a great bargain, in my opinion. I think that Mandukor is a staple unit for the Eisenek faction and will continue to be. I think depending on the format, you might be more incentivized to run some of the other ones. And as more designs come out, obviously, it'll just kind of depend. But as of right now, he's super solid, right? I mean, he is what you want to try and draft in an Eisenek build. And so here we go. Let's jump right in. So, Blast Furnace 15 during Hellforge Mandukor's turn before moving with it, and each time it moves onto a space during this movement, you must roll the 20-sided die, once for each figure adjacent to the Hellforge. If you roll a 15 or higher, that figure receives 1 wound. Figures with the lava-resistant special power are not affected. Hellforge Mandukor cannot roll for Blast Furnace against the same figure more than once per turn. So, a couple things. This operates just like the fire elementals that currently exist with Kurok, except for the very important part that you read here at the beginning of the ability that says during. Okay? It says during Hellforge Mandukor's turn, before moving, and each time it moves onto a space during this movement, right? So aside from that, it operates exactly like the other fire elementals. You roll a d20, it deals automatic wounds. Other fire people are safe from it, and you can't roll for more than once on one figure per turn. And so, so the idea there is you can't just walk around an individual hero 6 times or whatever and just keep rolling 6 times. It's just once per figure. But it's really, really significant, because what that means is at the beginning of taking a turn, if you start your turn with your own allied or your own figures around the Hellforge Mandukor, you could kill them. So placement is extremely, extremely important with this guy. Absolutely at the start of the game, in your start zone, knowing where he is, and throughout the game as well. He can burn his own Eiseneks, he can burn the Lich, he can burn, whatever you're playing with. And so you do have to be mindful of that. That is very relevant. So while good, can also be a bad thing if you're not paying attention. So he can auto-damage stuff on a 15 or higher at any point during his movement. So before he starts, while he moves, and then after he finishes his movement. All things get burned in that entire phase. Now, he does that during movement. He gets his normal attack of 4, which is, again, great. But then you're like, well, he can't reach anybody, movement of 4. And you're like, well, Eisenek Advance. At the start of each round, after all order markers have been placed, if all your order markers are placed on Eisenek army cards, you may move Hellforge up to 4 spaces. Hellforge must end his movement on an empty space. So that one, it's not like super powerful, but it is quite good if you're running an Eisenek army, because all of a sudden his effective movement at the end of at the beginning of the round is 8, right? Because you can move him into position and then win initiative or lose initiative, either way, but then you get to move him again. So his positioning it ends up being a lot faster than and more maneuverable than one might think. And so something to keep in mind with him, that something that I forget, though, is that you have to have all your order markers on Eisenek army cards. Kind of wish that wasn't the case. I kind of wish it was just a blanket ability that allowed him to move, but you know, that's how it's designed. So really, it's only relevant if the whole army's Revna, or not even Revna, sorry, Eisenek specifically. But you're not going to worry about that too much anyway, because Feed the Forge is where this guy makes his money. So obviously, you know, burning and doing auto damage is great for the unit, but the fact that you can have 6 life and 4 defense and still stick around to tell the tale and never really go down is what makes him so good. So Feed the Forge 15. If a figure or destructible object adjacent to Hellforge is destroyed, you may roll the 20-sided die. Add 8 to the roll if the figure is an Eisenek, Soulborg, or destructible object. If you roll a 15 or higher, you may remove the rune marker from this card. So, a couple things going on here. One, it immediately indicates that that if a figure is destroyed, it does not say if the Hellforge Mandukor kills that figure, deals damage to that figure, or anything. It just states that if something dies, it doesn't have to be an enemy, it doesn't have to be an ally, it just has to be a figure. So it could be, you know, an ally's figure, it could be your figure, it could be an enemy figure. Whatever figure dies next to the Hellforge Mandukor, you can roll to heal it, which is very significant considering if you're fighting with other units in a mass, you know, central map location, and your units are next to the Mandukor and his units are next to him, and if your opponent targets some other unit and kills it, and it happens to be next to Eisenek, boom, you're taking that dead body and feeding it into the forge. So really, really cool. So if you're running other Eiseneks, then you get a +8 if that your figure dies when you burn it, or Soulborg, or a destructible object. What I like about that last portion of the destructible object is they've intentionally listed destructible object as a valid target for this Feeding the Forge ability, which makes me think that they have destructible objects in the pipeline for design. No guarantees, obviously, but the fact that that's an open design space and very relevant on a new figure, I think, wow, that's kind of cool. Maybe we're going to get some, you know, more destructible objects that begins to directly interact with. Either way, again, it's a way to heal. So you roll, you get an 8 or higher, you roll, you have to get a 15 or higher, but you get +8 if it's in those 3 categories, which is pretty cool. So you remove a wound from the figure as soon as you get the roll 15 or higher, and then you're cooking, right? And so what's really cool that I like about these 2 abilities is that they both have a roll of 15. Some figure army cards have a different roll for different abilities. The Nikita's for one, and I always forget what the ability is. I forget which one is a smoke powder, which one is engagement strike. Is it a 13 or is it a 15? And I end up never, you know, really remembering. I always have to ask them, but not that there's anything inherently wrong with that, but this is notable that they've made this easier on people to just know what they have to roll. Both are on a 15. One is to deal damage during your turn, and the other is if something dies next to you, you can go ahead and feed yourself. So consider this scenario, right? You're a Hellforge Mandukor. You've got 4 or 5 damage already. You only have 1 or 2 life left, but you're in the middle of a pack of enemy units. You can move, roll a d20 to burn them with Blast Furnace. Say you get it, you kill them. Now because a figure died next to you, you roll the d20 to see if you heal it. Boom, you get a 15 or higher. You've now healed the Mandukor. All you did that turn was move him 1 space. That's it. So now you move him again. And you fall, rinse and repeat, right? You roll to see if you deal damage. If you do damage and it dies, then you roll to see if you feed it. If you feed it, then you heal a wound. And now all of a sudden, that 1 or 2 life left Mandukor is pumped up with life and dealing damage. And so the opportunity here for him to pull out a ton of damage is really, really good. Again, on top of that, after movement, you're still getting the normal attack of 4, which is solid. So overall, the Hellforge Mandukor is a menace. He is very good. And on top of that, you have to remember the Lich. The Lich is a big baddie, and that guy is going to be able to, you know, inject into the Hellforge Mandukor an extra 2 movement and 2 attack for a single turn, which honestly could be highly impactful because you could, you know, blitz a Hellforge Mandukor into your enemy forces, start just tearing through stuff, burning it, and then use that big attack of 6 to hit a big hero or something. So there's a ton of opportunity with the Hellforge Mandukor. But what do I grade him? Hellforge Mandukor is a tough one. For me, I'm going to rank him at a B. And here's why. I think the stat block alone in the offensive output could put him at a B+. But one of the restrictions I feel that makes him really difficult is he really feels like he has to be in an Eisenek build. And that Eisenek build has to have the Lich. Now, if you have the Lich and you have the Mandukor within those two figures, that's already 280 points. That's a lot of dough to be investing into just two figures. Now, those two figures are integral for their army and their faction. And I think as we get more Eiseneks, his value will go up to a B+ or even an A-. But that's largely dependent on a few design space. I mean, right now, I think he's at a B because while his stat block is good and while he can pull his weight, I think just the army building is really what pulls him back. For example, Eisenek Advance. You can't activate that ability unless all your order markers are on Eisenek figures. So that means either you're dumping them all on him or you're dumping them across the entire army. But if you're doing that and you've got the Lich in your army, again, it's a high investment for two figures, and so you don't have much else that you're getting in the army after that point, to be honest. And so I think for now, I'm going to keep him at a solid B, because that's what he is, absolutely a solid B, consistently going to do damage, consistently going to perform well. I think his stat block at 130 is right on point and quite good based off of where he's at. I've never really seen him, solo full armies or be, like a huge deal that people have worried about. And so I think for the most part, I can accurately state that, a B grade is where he sits, with the exception of future designs really pushing him to a B+, because I truly believe that if there's a common squad that comes out, if there's more good hero synergies that are a little bit cheaper, right? If the faction can basically be designed around the Lich plus one other main hero or squad and then a bunch of squaddies or something, I think it's a good contender, right? I think the Revna Eisenek faction is a good contender for dealing a lot of damage and being quite effective. So I think we'll see in time where he lands, but for now, I'm ranking him as a B. With an asterisk on that, noting that he definitely could sit at a B+ as well. But that's where I'm going to put Hellforge Mandukor for today. So let me know what you think in the comments and what games you've had, what crazy experiences you've had with this guy, because undoubtedly he's burned and eaten his fair share of units out there. So again, let me know what you think. I'm curious to hear those stories. And thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next time.